Hey guys, Travis here, back with another video. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and follow me at Eulogist Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you. So today is going to be episode 3 of One Sentence Reviews. If you haven't seen one of these before, this is where I usually take 10 new albums or singles that have come out recently and I review them in one sentence. But today I'm going to do something a little different. A band I like that just recently released an album. I am going to review each one of their songs in one sentence and then give them a full rating at the end of it. So the band I'm looking at today is one from New Jersey called Goodfall. If you noticed before, I have covered them with one of my reaction videos for their song called Song 3. But their album that they just recently put out is called Editor's Letter. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting us off is a track called Iababo, and this is a jazzy prog rock song with soaring vocals and sudden key shifts. Second track is called Schematics, and this is actually a little bit more of emo prog with a lot of warm guitar tones. Number 3 is called Relevance, and this actually starts out really piano heavy and turns into an epic with very pretty vocal patterns. Fourth one is called Song 3, which was their single for the album, and I would compare this to a Dance Gavin Dance style post-hardcore song that is super catchy. Number 5 is called Have to Leave, and this is kind of half slow and steady and half soft emo prog that turns into this big swelling anthem. Number 6, halfway through the album, is called Something Dark, and living up to its name, it's actually a very dark instrumental prog rock song with some gent characteristics when the guitar comes in halfway through. Number 7 is called Nose, not this kind of nose, like this kind of nose. And this is math prog with classical piano vibes. Pretty interesting. Number 8 is Windows, and this is a soft / spacey epic that builds in intensity over the course of the entire song. Number 9, and hopefully I don't butcher this, is called Laga Vegar. Yeah. I describe this as dark emo core with some ambient and chunky guitar tones. Number 10 is called Physics, and this one has fast and intense ambient guitar with a lot of tonal shifts thrown in. They seem to do this a lot, which is very interesting. But this song, you know right off the bat what I'm talking about when it just comes in with that ambient sweep picking, I guess you would call it. Number 11 is actually the longest track on the album at about 7.5 minutes. It's called Light Something. And this actually mixes two styles of music. One part is kind of light math rock, but then there's a lot of experimental guitar patterns, drum patterns, vocal patterns scattered throughout. And the last track on the album is called One More Thing. This is a kind of rock anthem with post-hardcore tendencies and very catchy vocal patterns like the rest of the album. So a few final notes on this album before I give it a rating. What this sounded like to me was something that band May would have done. Back in 2007, they released an album called Singularity. If you haven't listened to that, check that out, because it sounds like they drew a lot of influence from this, even if they didn't. May was a piano-heavy kind of prog experimental band from the mid-2000s that I enjoyed a lot, especially their first two albums and The Everglow, if you've ever listened to them. They started off as kind of an emo band, but then kind of shifted towards something that was way more experimental. And this is kind of what Goodfall sounds like to me. They have a lot of post-hardcore tendencies. They have a lot of ambient leads. Something I really like about this band is how in each song they throw in a kind of different guitar tone. Sometimes you'll get something that's completely spacey, and then other times you will get like almost this chunky guitar tone that almost seems like they're trying to be like an experimental gent band, which is really interesting to me because I have not heard an album like this in, I don't know, maybe 10 years, because people tend to stay away from this style, especially with the really interesting tonal changes that they do with those little jazzy chords that are thrown in every so often. You don't expect them at all. You think it's going to go one way, and then they just throw this completely different chord in from left field that I've never heard before. But as far as a rating for this whole thing overall, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So, good job, guys. If you liked this video, then please make sure that you leave a comment for me about another album that I should do. Maybe it's a throwback album, maybe it's an unsigned band, maybe it's a signed band, whatever. You know me, I like reviewing albums. So drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next week for another one of these videos.